Welcome to Gracefully Imperfect, a podcast for the all-encompassing Black man, the professional, the entrepreneur, the student, the family man, the father, and the everyday survivor. I'm your host, Semantic 7. And on this journey together, we will discuss all things related to fatherhood and parenting, morality and ethics, striving to become mentally healthy, our role within our households and our family, health and fitness, and I dare not to forget, there will be a lot of sharing of our personal developmental stories that have shaped us to who we are today. So let's go on this journey together and center our consciousness, relax our mind, off we go to the depths below. Peace and love, family, and blessings in abundance. So privileged to host another episode for another week on this beautiful, magnificent podcast. And I am so grateful that you all have chose this one out of the many thousands, or even the ones that you subscribe to, or that you find the most impelling. Thank you for tuning into this one. I do not take an episode for granted. I do not take the content creation for granted. And I do not take the fact that all this is for you and to soothe your soul and to provide some level of balance and information to guide you in your daily life. And that I don't take for granted as well. I started this podcast just on pure faith in the unknown and the uncertainty. And that faith transcended into determination. And that determination is what fueled the motivation and the discipline. And the discipline is a reminder based off of the habitual things that go into doing this week to week, day to day. And so when I started this, I didn't know where this was going to go. And even still to this day, I couldn't tell you. All I know is that I am serving a greater good. I am communicating to the community that I love oh so dearly. I'm communicating to men that look like me. I'm also communicating to men that don't look like me. I'm communicating and expressing my utmost respect and gratitude to the Black woman who have showed me grace during times of chaos and insanity. Paying homage and respect to one of the oldest art forms that ever lived, poetry. And using that as a vessel to evaluate life experiences, to dissect them piece by piece, aspect by aspect, element by element, in order to get to some semblance of understanding. And the fact that I have an outlet to do that and to share that with all of you is an honorable feat. It's an honorable situation. I wanted to come on here and to express all of you just the criticality and the imperative nature it is to really relish in what Juneteenth means to our people, to our ancestors, to the progress that we can measure and identify and that is observable, and what this means for our future generation. Juneteenth is not only a celebration, but it is a time to reflect deeply on the perils and the plight that our people went through in order for us to live in certain neighborhoods, start our own businesses, invest in real estate, have a few dollars in our bank account, be able to provide options, opportunities, and variety for our children. The little things that we have today, the little choices that we make today is because of what our ancestors went through. Not to say that we're not still fighting the fight and still struggling for our human rights, for equity, for liberation, for justice. This is a time to reflect on our ancestors, though. Truly is. I hope that everyone who will take the time out during Juneteenth are honing in on the fact that that was the release of physical bondage. A little over 200 years of physical bondage in the Americas, the Caribbeans, and the West Indies. There was so much physical bondage in so many different areas, but in the United States in particular, over 200 years. And 2.5 years after the actual Emancipation Proclamation was signed, that Juneteenth became a declared release from slavery for the rest of those African, Creole, whatever you want to call them, slaves that were living in the South, specifically Galveston, Texas. There's 3 things that I have taken away from Juneteenth, or I should say the manumission, the release from slavery. We need to learn our history, and we need to teach our history to our children. We have to invest into the resources, the time, the effort, and give them the tools, the techniques, the knowledge, the information so they understand exactly where they come from. Understanding the evolution of our people. Provide them the access to fully look back in time and say, we were once kings and queens, lordships. Then we were succumbed to colonialism. And understanding how all of that lines up and creates a cause and effect, which leads us to today. Second thing is to establish your own tradition for Juneteenth. For a long time, a lot of us were celebrating July 4th, getting out the fireworks, firing up the grill, barbecuing, playing music, drinking, bringing out the fun games. And we were celebrating the independence of the 13 colonies from Britain, not knowing and not possessing the knowledge that that independence did not bear us in mind at all. Creating a tradition with yours, your extended family, your immediate family, your children, your closest friends and comrades will not only bring immense joy and satisfaction, but also it will create a new narrative about how one of the most fragile phenomenons on this world, time, is being used, and how another valuable phenomenon, energy, is being expended. If you're Black in America and in the Americas, if you're an African in the Americas, Juneteenth is your day. The third thing is to not only relish on Juneteenth about what Juneteenth means and the significance and the magnitude of this event, but every day should be a reminder that we are from a heritage of resilient, enduring, mentally strong, intelligent, creative, people. We come from a heritage and a lineage of people that have just been trailblazers, that through the struggle, through the pain, through the adversity, through the brutality and the violence, through the castration and the lynchings, through the poverty and the zoning, through the unfair housing legislation and real estate discriminatory tactics, through all of that, we still found a way to create a culture that is vibrant, that is radiant, that is electrifying, that is contagious. Everywhere you go around this world, you will find that Africans in America or Blacks in America are influential or idolized. And so many other groups and cultures, they look to us for style, for swag, for aesthetic inspiration. We are their muse. So every day is a reminder that even in the backdrop of police brutality and racial discrimination, hatred, bigotry, xenophobia. We are still a monumental people that have collaboratively and collectively through the plight of slavery and beyond created something that is inspiring and beautiful and remarkable. And that is a culture for ourselves and a culture that we share with other people. Sometimes intentionally, and sometimes we don't receive the credit. Nevertheless, every day is a reminder of our greatness and our excellency. There's one more thing. Now that I'm talking with all of you, there's one more thing that I will honor, and I'll also share with you, and maybe this resonates with you and becomes a staple in your life. Is honor your ancestors. Honor your ancestors. It doesn't matter if you do not know specifically who within your lineage was involved during the physical bondage of the slave trade or the chattel slavery period. The fact of the matter is that this melanated skin that we have comes with a price. It came with risk. It came with unbearable suffering. It came with so many things that relegated us and subjected us to someone else's prosperity. Honoring our ancestors is as simple as expressing your gratitude and your appreciation for their efforts. Doing the research, ancestry.com, get yourself a free trial. Figure out who's on that tree. Look through all the Census Bureau documents. Look for anything. Look for clues, context clues that shows you your point of origin. But as a rule of thumb, the melanated skin is a historical linkage to some form of servitude. And when you honor your ancestors, keep in mind that you are who you are today because of the pathway that's been opened up for you. Our ancestors didn't always make the right decisions. They didn't always say and do the right things. But they did what they could do with what they knew and what they had access to and the resources that were available to them. In essence, they did the best they can, regardless of the condition or circumstances. And with that attitude and with that perspective, we too can open up the pathway for our children, for those that we are role models for. And we can be a guiding light to their destination. So happy Juneteenth to all of you. I should say power to Juneteenth and power to you all. One more thing that I want to mention to all of you that brings me great joy. And we're talking about Juneteenth, and Juneteenth is such a powerful, beautiful, just situation within our history and within our heritage. I also want to bring up that my first book as an author will be coming out tomorrow. The book is called The Depths Below, and it tells the story of my identity crisis through the challenges and the learnings of my identity developmental journey, going through and eradicating those miseducation effects, and then me communicating the crystallization process. In other words, the process of which things became more clear. It is a poetic story that goes from ignorance, deaf, dumb, and blindness to awakeness. For all those that want to read this poetry and support Black literary excellence, if you go onto my Instagram at always_gracefully imperfect, and the bio will take you to what opened up my Preneur site, and you can get it directly from the publisher's website, or you can go on my website and you can get the book. It will be out in print, and it'll also be an electronic book as well. So whatever fits your fancy. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear exactly how this book resonates with you, how this book moved your spirit or your soul. If you liked it, if you didn't like it. I want to know your favorite passage. I want to know your favorite poem. I want to know your favorite stanza or line. I want to know all of that. So subscribe to this podcast. Show some love to this podcast. This podcast will grow. And I want this to grow with all of the people who support this, who loves this, who gives feedback honestly and candidly. I want us to grow, keeping all of your concerns, grievances, positivity, all of that in mind. So subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform that you use. Give us a review. Subscribe to follow us on Instagram. Go and get the book. It comes out tomorrow. Go get it. Go get the book. If it's not for you, get it for someone else. Put it on your coffee table. I guarantee that there is something in that will be a great value to you or to someone that you care about. And then lastly, the email hasn't changed. poeticsemantics7@gmail.com. Send me a testimonial. Send me a question. Let me know what topics or subjects you would like for this podcast to dissect and evaluate. If you want to hear a certain type of theme, a certain type of situation or event in poetic form, let me know. I will construct something. There's no limit to this. Thank you, family, for this space. Thank you for trusting this space, trusting me. Thank you for your confidence. Thank you for just tuning in. As simple as that. I can't wait for us to have more conversations, peel back more topics and subject areas, share more poetry with each other, be more emotional, vulnerable, and embracing our imperfect selves. And I can't wait to start really, really hearing from all of you. So in the meantime, be love, be peace, be power, be triumph, be healthy, and best of all, be your imperfect self. Peace, everybody.